The trade deadline has come and gone for the Carolina Panthers, and although Adam Thielen is still here and Miles Sanders, there was another name that was moved today, and that was second-year wide receiver Jonathan Mingo. Jonathan Mingo was a former second-round pick, number 39 overall. Steve Smith Sr. endorsed Jonathan Mingo. That's not to say that you can't be wrong in these situations, but it just didn't work out. I don't know if there was a ban on him getting into the end zone, but he could not find the end zone. And Jonathan Mingo had a very productive offseason, according to all reports. Everyone was raving about Jonathan Mingo and Terrace Marshall Jr. And now the Carolina Panthers fans maybe are sitting here scratching their heads, wondering why is it that the Panthers cannot draft good wide receivers? Well, thankfully we have Xavier Legette and undrafted free agent Jalen Coker sitting here in the waiting, looking like they are actually going to turn into pretty decent prospects. So now the Carolina Panthers continue to get younger, and I know Mingo, not a big age difference between Xavier and Coker, but he has moved on. And let's take a look back at the stats for Jonathan Mingo and his time here in Carolina. Last year, we know, battled injuries. He missed 2 games. He ended up with 43 receptions, 418 yards. I was going on record trying to paint a picture for this guy as a rookie that, hey, things are going to be okay. But then you hear other players in the NFL, other former players, one of them being Muhsin Muhammad, who went on record talking about how they got it in their rookie year and figured things out. We tried to make excuses, but he had 418 yards, 0 touchdowns. Coming into this year, he appeared in 9 games. We saw a diminished snap count, and like you just sat there like, okay, this is eventually going to make sense. That's why when I did my fire sale trade deadline video, I had him as an honorable mention at a time when not a lot of people were saying Jonathan Mingo's name. There was a lot of Miles Sanders, a lot of Deontay Johnson, a lot of Adam Thielen in that mix, Bryce Young. Not many people were talking about Jonathan Mingo as a trade candidate, but I was, and this was over 2 or 3 weeks ago. And now he's gone on the year, started in 5 games. That should tell you one thing, considering he's played in 9. Targeted 26 times. He has 12 receptions on the year, 121 yards, 0 touchdowns. And when you go back and look at the game logs, he had 1 catch, 1 reception in the last 4 games. So it was dwindling down. And even on the year, coming out against New Orleans, had 5 targets, only 2 receptions. His best game so far during the year was against Chicago, where he had 2 receptions for 37 yards. It just never clicked. And I think the Panthers made a decision at this point to get a 4th-round pick for Jonathan Mingo, whose production was declining as much as it was, and you have a lot of these other young guys around. It makes sense. And now you kind of balance out the trade with Deontay Johnson. So if you were worried, concerned, mad, upset that we didn't get whatever we didn't get in that, you have it balanced out now. And the other positive with this, of course, we're sending over Mingo. We get the 4th rounder. We're also sending over a 7th round pick. It's Kansas City's 7th round pick that we owned. The benefit of that is Kansas City's a heck of a football team. And I mean, we're talking about a 7th round pick, so I don't think it really matters. But we are stockpiling assets. Dan Morgan and co., and that is Brant Tillis, are stockpiling assets. And I will tell you that is beneficial for the Carolina Panthers. The more draft picks you have, the more opportunities you have to hit. We now look at the 2023 draft class. Bryce Young, Jonathan Mingo, DJ Johnson, Chandler Zavala, Jamie Robinson. And it doesn't look good. Bryce Young maybe on the upward trajectory. Jonathan Mingo traded. DJ Johnson battling, not looking like we thought. Chandler Zavala, viable backup. Jamie Robinson was a healthy scratch. So not a good class. And then in 2022, Ike Ekwonu, Matt Corral, Brandon Smith, Amari Barno, Cade Mays, Kalen Barnes. You just look at the number of players that are not here. One of the best draft classes for the Carolina Panthers was 2021, where they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 draft picks. They hit on J.C. Horn. Did not hit on Terrace Marshall, but they tried it. Didn't work. Hit on Brady Christensen. Kind of hit on Tommy Tremble, but I think Jatavian Sanders is going to overtake him. Hit on Chuba Hubbard. There are a few guys below that they did not hit on that are some of them not even in the league when we talk about Shi Smith, Thomas Fletcher, Davion Nixon, other guys kind of floating around on practice squads trying to make the cut. But you got to hit. And then the bigger question for the Carolina Panthers now is like our history of drafting wide receivers just has not been good. You go back, the few good receivers that we have drafted, we've let go. So DJ Moore, 2018, number one pick, not number one overall, but first round pick. Curtis Samuel, gone. Both of those guys still producing. Speaking of DJ Moore, he's out there walking off the field mid-play. I think he thought the play was over. So let's take a look at the draft picks for the Panthers, wide receivers. So you have Xavier Legette, remember, Coker's undrafted, Jonathan Mingo, Terrace Marshall Jr., Shi Smith, not on the team, Terry Godwin, that was in 2019, DJ Moore, hit, Curtis Samuel in 2017, hit, did not draft one again until 2014, Kelvin Benjamin, kind of a hit, just didn't pan out, Joe Adams in 2012, Kealo Polaris in 2011, they drafted 3 in 2010, Brandon LaFell, Armani Edwards, and David Geddes. Going back into 07, Dwayne Jarrett, Ryan Robinson. I mean, I can keep scrolling. The hits have been far and few between. We have to go all the way back to 2001 with Steve Smith Sr. I know it's a young franchise, but hey, I look at this as an opportunity for a lot of these young guys and or a David Moore and possibly an Adam Thielen now that he's here to come back. And hey, this is Bryce Young's team, folks. It is Bryce Young's team moving forward, and it should be. And if Dave Canales does not make the decision to start Bryce Young after not trading him, we got bigger issues. And this is your chance to showcase him. If you decide to move on, which I don't think you should, let's see how this thing can play out and let him develop alongside these guys and hopefully get Jonathan Brooks back. You talk about a very robust, healthy draft class. That's exactly what we have right now with a lot of these picks starting to develop and a lot of them on the offensive side of the ball. We know we can focus on defense heading into next year. Anyways, that's your daily recap. This is Carolina Dad. Y'all have a good one.